Hello everyone, good morning and good evening. Today we are going to discuss Genesys Cloud CX Professional Certification Question and Answers Part 2. Here in Part 2, 11 to 20 questions will be discussed. Let's dive in. So the first question is, which component is required to enable Genesys Cloud WebRTC phone for a user working from home without a VPN? Some users will connect from home. So nowadays people are working from home without going to office. In that scenario, the Genesys Cloud has to support it with the Genesys Cloud WebRTC phone. For that, there is a settings to be enabled. It seems WebRTC relies on standard internet protocol for media traversal. In this scenario, a turn server stun capability provided by Genesys Cloud. This feature will support on this situation. So let's log this answer. Yeah, WebRTC requires turn for NAT traversal to establish a media pass over the public internet. This is a correct answer. The remaining and all not the correct answer. Just go through it. I'll move on to the next one. When a quality evaluator completes an evaluation of an agent's call, what must happen for the agent to see the results in their performance view? So any conversation happen in Genesys Cloud, the supervisor used to evaluate their call performance. After evaluation done, the agent can able to view their um, performance, evaluation score, etc. In this scenario, we can check the hint. Here is the evaluator has to finalize the visibility. Yeah, so it means the evaluator has to complete the evaluation process. Once they are done, it will be released. So the answer is evaluation must be released. So remain in pending state means for evaluator until they are released to the agent. So it is not yet released. That's a status, pending status. So they have to wait until their completion to view the call evaluation report. So the remaining A, B, C are not a correct answer. So you can skip it those. This is not all agent must be on queue, off queue status that is not related to quality evaluation process. Interaction must be deleted. No. The agent must reach out to IT. No, this is not related to this evaluation process. Yeah, let me move on to the next one. In Genesys Cloud Architect, which type of variable allows data to be shared across different states within the same flow execution? So in Genesys Cloud, while developing a call flow, whether it is inbound flow, outbound flow, in-queue flow, while developing it, so inbound flow going to be a start of the flow, start of the application. In that scenario, if you want to variables across multiple flows, so it is better to write the variable like flow dot variables. In this scenario, flow variables, task level or flow level, store data for the duration of the specific interaction path through the flow. So any flow, for an example, username, flow dot username, if you write it, the variable will be accessible across the flow. Even if the call transfer to in-queue flow, the variable will be accessed. And if you write it task dot username, then the variable will be the variable scope will be accessed within the flow only. So it is better to keep in mind while writing the flow variables access permission. So external contact, this is not the correct answer. User attributes, no. System variables, no. So the C is a correct answer. Let me move on to the next one. Yeah, Genesys Cloud Edge is showing as inactive. Which of the following is the first logical step for troubleshooting the connectivity? My guess, let me check the hint. Consider basic networking requirements for cloud connected hardware. Check if the edge can reach the Genesys Cloud AWS public endpoints over the required ports. Example 443. Change the site's time zone, reinstall. No. So this is a seems to be a correct one because Edge can reach the Genesys Cloud. So Genesys Cloud is implemented on top of AWS cloud environment. So it has reached to the AWS public endpoints over the required ports, some ports 443. So then only Genesys Cloud we can able to access it. So this is a correct answer. Edge requires outbound internet access to Genesys Cloud Management Services to stay active. Yeah, so let me move on to the next one. Which of the following describes a wrap-up code in Genesys Cloud? The first answer is technical error code. No. A mandatory or optional label applied to an interaction to indicate its outcome. It seems to be a correct answer. And third is C is a code used by agent to log into system. No. D, a password for accessing architect flow. So this is used at the end of a call, correct? So every call, being completed at the time of completion, uh, we need to give the wrap-up code. You have to select the wrap-up code. So it's a mandatory optional based on your queue configuration. It will be reflected. So once it is mandatory, you have to set some nodes and move on within the time frame. Or if it is optional, you don't need to write the any notes after the call completion. Straight away you can disconnect the call. So this is the right answer. Wrap-up codes provide categorization for interaction, example resolved, transferred to billing for reporting purposes. So yeah, this is what. So each and every call will have some status, right? After interacting with the customer, agent have to write their notes about the call status so that if the call is not yet resolved, then if the call is being transferred to another agent or another queue, the new agent will come to know about the call interaction status. So the short notes they will understand to interact with the customer further. So it will help them to proceed. So let me move on to the next one. In the Genesys Cloud Admin UI, where would you go to create a new group of users for internal collaboration, not for ACD routing? Correct. ACD routing is different. ACD routing will happen through queue transfer to ACD. There we have to configure queue, and then for that, even for the queue, we can configure with the members in a group. So by for that we need to configure in a separate group and then tag it under the group. Queue configuration in the members section. So here the requirement is different. So they need to have a group for users to have internal collaboration, just to have a chat communication. In this scenario, let me check directory. Yeah, so it is a straightforward answer. Directory, in the directory we can create a groups. These groups in the directory are used for organizational structure, internal chat, and document sharing. So the correct answer we got it. Let me move on to the next one. Which features allows Genesys Cloud to automatically adjust the number of agents scheduled based on historical interaction volume? So it is seems to be a workforce management concepts. Here, workforce management forecasting and scheduling is used to adjust automatically the number of agents scheduled based on historical interaction volume. So this is a workforce related tool, correct? So the answer is workforce management forecasting and scheduling. The next one is in architect, which type must a variable be to hold a customer's phone number extracted from the ANI? Yeah, any is nothing but it's a customer phone number. Um, the customer phone number we need to extract it. If in the architect flow we can write the expression call dot any. We'll have a customer's phone number that we can store it in a string variable. We cannot store it in a currency or integer, boolean, etc. So it is phone number is or already or treated as a text sequences. So it is better to have a string type to store the any numbers. Strings are the standard variable type for alphanumeric text, including phone numbers. So we got the correct answer. Next one is what is the function of external contacts in Genesys Cloud? So here is a third-party API integration. No. To store SIP addresses for external contacts. No. To provide built-in CRM like database for customer profiles and interaction history. Correct. So external contacts allows you to store customer names, phone numbers, and emails to identify them during interaction. So any vendor's phone number, we can store it in external contact objects so that whenever you want to transfer the call from the agent call interaction window, we can we will have an option to transfer. In this transfer option, we can select the external contact. By selecting the name of the external contact, we can transfer the call directly to them so that the relevant call flow will be executed on the business logic part, and then call will be routed to the relevant queue and alert to their agents. So we got the answer. Let me move on to the next one. A user is unable to log into Genesys Cloud desktop app but can log in via the web browser. What is the most likely cause? The desktop application requires specific app permission or is outdated. A SIM trunk is down. The Edge is in emergency mode. The user's role is missing the admin permission. So the first B and C's are not correct one. I